Welcome to Executives at the Edge, a podcast brought to you by MEF. I'm your host, Pascal Menezes. Join me as we explore thought-provoking perspectives from the leaders and changemakers who are propelling enterprise digital transformation forward. Well, I'm really super excited to have Divesh Gupta. He's the VP of Professional Services and Technology from Console Connect. Divesh, welcome to Executives at the Edge. And for our audience, could you give us a little bit of background about yourself and Console Connect?
Yeah, Pascal, thanks for having me. So my name is Divesh Gupta, and I work for Console Connect. For those of you who don't know, Console Connect, the parent organization is PCCW Global, and we have headquarters in Hong Kong. And we are a tier 1 operator. We provide all three forms of connectivity, layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. We've invested a lot in cable capacities, I think in excess of 480 million in the last 10 years. And we operate over 46 terabits of capacity worldwide. We have over hundreds of our own POPs, and we also have interconnects with a wide number of carrier partners of ours through which we deliver services to both enterprises and wholesale. Console Connect is our software-defined network built on top of our layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3 infrastructure. It operates about 1.3 million line of code, and it kind of orchestrates all of the layer 1, layer 2 NAS connectivity over the infrastructure. My role, I transitioned into the professional services team starting this year. And our mandate is to find out gaps and bridge them and basically really enable our platform, the Console Connect platform, to reach out to reseller wholesale customers, but also to enterprises, and to make it easy for them to use our network, which is essentially a middle mile of sorts, where you can provide data center to data center or data center to cloud or any kind of connectivity to, as I mentioned, both wholesale and enterprise. But my job is to kind of get two main channels into the realm. One is via APIs, and the other one is through SaaS. So there are two offerings we have, and I'll talk about that more as we go.
Well, Divesh, this is really intriguing. Now, middle miles, let's start with that, because it's always a fascinating topic. What does that mean by middle mile? So if I understand, you have a lot of connection to clouds, and basically a middle mile player has kind of replaced the idea of the internet in some ways for a business network, where other people, other operators can come to you as a middle mile and connect to all the clouds and so on, and it's a business network versus the internet. Is that kind of like an idea of what a middle mile is in way your term?
Yeah, more or less. So what I would say is it's a network which is running on a private underlay. It could be a layer 1 or a layer 2 underlay, and it has class of service or quality of service, and it comes with SLAs and security. So that's how it kind of differentiates from a normal standard run-of-the-mill internet access network. And then why we call it middle mile, basically, predominantly we have networks running between data centers or data centers to cloud, which leaves out the last mile. And there is a reason, because most of the times the last mile is integrated into the mix through a third-party supplier or a regional carrier. And it would depend upon them as to how much can it be automated in the overall mix. So it is an essential component, the edge, but in terms of end-to-end automation, it's a component that sometimes left out.
Yeah, so I think very interesting concept is the huge global network you have in many locations around the world, which is all your POPs. You have this huge backbone that has quality in it and security in it. And also you have on-ramps to all kinds of clouds, like big hyperscaler clouds. And I think you have thousands of clouds, is that right? Or maybe exaggerating?
We have over 1,000 POPs or data centers where we can operate and basically get customers onto our network. They just need to order a port, and then they're on net. And from there on, they can on-ramp to any of the clouds. So we connect with all the major hyperscalers, but also to tier 2 clouds, which are regional clouds, and the customers can actually order connections through our platform, the SDN platform, and it gets implemented on the fly.
Yeah, so the power is that they can go to all these clouds, and additionally, it's all automated, fully automated with APIs. Now, this is one of your key functions of what you do. You want to talk a little bit more about this automation?
Yes. So you're right there. We've got API first strategy when we build our platform. So any service that we render on our Console Connect portal is also available through APIs. And wholesalers or resellers, they are prominently bigger users of the APIs. At this point, enterprises largely use the portal to integrate with us. But yeah, I mean, there's been increased adoption of these APIs, and we've had these in place for more than 7-8 years now. And some of these are not standard. At that point, we didn't have a very robust standard defined by TM Forum or MEF. And we are getting increased requests from our carrier partners to provide them with standard interfaces, so which leads us to the first product that we just announced yesterday, is an LSO API adapter that allows for companies like us to translate or map proprietary APIs to a standard, in this case the MEF-CECP standard. And it kind of makes it easier for our carrier partners to connect with us on a standard-based API instead of the proprietary one.
Oh, very, very interesting. And I know that the open source is the LSO API Adapter project. You have APIs, and these customers might have proprietary APIs, and they can use the LSO API Adapter Tool. Then it converts to our MEF LSO standard APIs, and you implement that in your network.
Yes, correct. So these are, think of them as buyers. They could be enterprise or wholesale, Pascal, largely wholesale. But these buyers are coming onto our platform to either use a DC to DC or a DC to cloud connection. And they're looking for standardized interfaces from us, right? So the adapter sits right in the middle. On one end, it has access to our proprietary APIs, the endpoints, which allow for a customer to order services and then provision or upgrade or downgrade them. And on the other side, it offers a translated standardized version to a buyer. So if you're a buyer coming to me, you could just use the MEF standard to basically order provision services on my network. And so the tool is available, like you mentioned, in open source. And the reason there is we'd like to encourage increased adoption of the standard interfaces as opposed to proprietary. And making it available in open source makes it that much more easier. And the other thing we found is that there are GSIs which also provide some kind of functionality which is similar to that. Or there are API aggregators through whom you can route your requests, and then they funnel those requests to the appropriate carrier providers. But there you have a middleman. So what we are propagating here is any-to-any interaction between a buyer and a seller without a middleman. And so with the adapter, that's possible. As long as everyone's speaking MEF-CECP, you don't really require a middleman to connect. And so you can have a bilateral relation with your buyer or with the seller. And also, it's a single hop. It's a one-hop connectivity, so it's faster. And the other thing about the adapter is it's a plug-and-play kind of thing. It has a UI, and you can pretty much map a source to a target using that UI. You don't really need to code much, and you don't really need to reprogram your APIs. So if there are suppliers out there who already have, like I said, proprietary APIs, without changing their code, they could just use it as an adapter to translate into a MEF standard.
So to understand this better, you have proprietary APIs that you could translate it through the adapter tool to an open MEF APIs. And then if a other one of your customers have support MEF-LSO APIs and they would just interoperate, kind of, with some caveats. But if they don't, they can use your adapter tool also to convert their proprietary to, so we're all talking the same language, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a very powerful idea.
Yeah.
Now, your customers, they're other telcos, and they're coming to you because they want to connect to clouds and other data centers. And do they also want to connect to other access providers that they might want to use you as their backbone to areas that they can't get to in certain parts of the world?
They do. That's a interesting question. So primarily our APIs are on net, so it's data center to data or data center to cloud, and majority of those circuits are already in service, like they're operational and they can be provisioned on the fly. The difference about what we call that is an edge port on our platform, where we allow a buyer to come in and order connections on locations which might not be on our own footprint. So we have back-end integration with our number of carriers around the globe. And so they are providing us regional connectivity. And we call it edge port. So it's basically a port on our data center to an enterprise building, which is not part of our backbone. And how we do that is we have a back-end, again, a Sonata interface into these carriers, primarily to get a quote. In some cases, we are also able to place orders through them. Yeah, so that kind of brings the extension, kind of provides that ability for us to provision end-to-end service as opposed to just a middle mile service.
Yeah, no, very interesting. So other providers can come to you to be your global backbone. You have access to the clouds, all kinds of clouds. You have access to data centers all over the world, and you have access now to access loops all over the world too, kind of. And fully automated is the goal. Right, that's your important aspect.
Yeah, the goal is fully automated. However, in the realm of the edge ports, there are many implementations where there's partially manual because they don't have order APIs at this point. But that's the point we're trying to drive here, that if we have increased adoption of these APIs and they're allowed to also order automatically, then we are able to provide all of that onto our platform.
But on net to the clouds and the data centers, that's already on net. That's you can order.
That's
right?
also that's all on net, and that's real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you go beyond order? Do you provide a quote first and then an order, and then do you also go beyond order, like trouble ticketing automation and performance and fault? Do you give that kind of observability across the ecosystem?
Yes, it's the entire life cycle, all the way from ordering to provisioning to billing and to fault ticketing. Everything is available through the portal.
And even performance and fault?
Performance fault, yeah. So you can, if there is a circuit that's been spun up on our network, customers can go in to the port level and see how many connections are there, because we have a multi-port concept. So the same port could be used for a layer 2 connection or for a cloud router, which is a layer 3 product, or to an internet access. So you could see all the connections on that port. Or you could go connection by connection and look at utilization of each of that, as to what's being utilized, what's left. All of that is in real time. And customers have that view through the portal.
And through APIs.
And through APIs. Yes.
And these are, the portals are really just driven through these standard APIs, right? It's just a rendering of the APIs.
They are. And that brings me to the private label product, if you allow me. There are partners, many of them are data center providers, who don't have a full-fledged network of theirs own. So they are not really carriers who are buying from us. And they're interested in reselling the network that we have on our Console Connect platform. So we've started offering a SaaS a product to them, which we call Console Connect Private Label. And it is the same portal, but it is totally customized in these operators' look and feel. So it has their own color, logos, domain name is totally customized. And so we provide that as a SaaS instance to them, and they can come in and start ordering for their end customers, enterprise customers, through that portal. So that's a new offering that we just announced in ITW a couple of weeks back.
Very, very interesting. So that is exactly how the mobile carriers have done it, right? Is that, and so it's the mobile virtual network operators, right? MVNO. And so is that the kind of idea? Instead of a mobile, this is you can get your own network, put your own labels on it, but it's all operated by you guys.
Absolutely.
And the backbones and clouds and connections and data centers. So it looks like, of course, you see a lot of these wireless operators that are doing this MVNO, and they have all these partners and channels that are doing their own label on it. So is that the idea?
It's absolutely the same concept, except that this is on a terrestrial connectivity where we're offering layer 2 and layer 3 connections to the cloud and to data centers. And think of it like, data center carriers, they pretty much have multiple data centers, let's say in a city or in a metro, and all they're doing is provisioning cross connects between their data centers. Now they have the possibility to use a portal which is customized into their skin, and also add other service offerings for these customers to come and order, let's say, an internet access through the same interconnection point, where they're picking up cross-connect orders, but they could enable internet access, they could enable cloud on-ramps to these customers.
Now, let's switch topic here. Agentic AI is becoming a huge area of interest. Everybody's deploying some kind of AI agent. What's your thoughts on this, and how does that apply to your network and to the NAS that MEF has been doing, network as a service?
Great question, Pascal. So one thing I'd like to say is, up until now, you would have seen this in many other discussions that service providers are looking for the real NAS business use case, which actually really generates revenue. And I think AI is that opportunity for us. With AI workloads, they're very unpredictable. And so the peak time loads are very different from a non-peak load, as opposed to others where you have pretty much predictable bandwidth requirements around a week or a month or a year. So that kind of straight away ties in with NAS offerings. NAS offerings all about on demand and flexibility for customers to come in and bring up or bring down bandwidth on an established circuit. And AI workloads are actually increasing that requirement even more. So how I see that plays, with the multimodal, the agentic AI, there are hyperscalers who have started offering multiple AI agents, and these could run different type of workloads, right? So to give you an example, we've had requirements from enterprises, and these are not wholesalers. This is enterprise companies coming to us and saying, hey, they have, let's say, for example, they have a connection somewhere in South Africa, Joburg, and the other connection on our network is in London. And they have a 10 gig between these two locations. They'd like to spin up connections just for the weekend from 1 gig to 10 gig, and then bring them down Monday. Bring it up Friday, bring them down Monday. Week after week after week. They're probably doing some, AI LLMs or inference at the edge, some kind of AI-related workload, which requires this frequent upgrade and downgrade. And they're saying, we don't want to do that through portals. Give us the APIs, and we just write a script and just incorporate that in our application every time when we need it. We just spin it up and then turn it off after we're done. So it's a use case which is totally going in based on the AI workloads that they're.
But why not use exactly what we've been showing at Mobile World Congress, the Chimera APIs? In other words, you use the MEF LSO APIs for the management and the onboarding of that developers and the community of that company, just like you're doing, quote ordering, all that stuff. But then give the Chimera QOD APIs, which you can really get and it's open source, and they can build that into their agents. And then they can call into your network that then provisions the network. The agents themselves will provision a QOD, quality on demand, called into your network. And then you have an exposure platform that takes that. Since you've already onboarded them, then you have all the credentials to get through the API gateways, all the management, authorizations, and so on. So this is where, network APIs are going. It's in what, I've announced in our strategy in MEF, is we've done the business side of the quote order, blah, blah, blah. We have the operational for performance and fault and trouble ticketing. But now the ability for applications or agents to program the network, for whatever they want, in this case, quality of service or where the nearest edge is, discovery and things like that, is all powerful. So these agents, machine to machine, can communicate in a very interactive way. Have you thought about this?
Absolutely. I think that's a really good use case because there the quality of service extends beyond just the on-net data center to data center concept or data center to cloud. You basically extend that quality of service beyond into the 5G realm, where you have maybe an IoT device which is running a sensor processing data, and you can extend that end to end, even into the. So we have a product called Edge SIM that we also provision through our Console Connect platform. It allows for customers to order a bunch of SIM cards which run on our package, which kind of is global mobile package. And we can route traffic from those SIMs onto our platform and onto a cloud where there is a SaaS application running. It's all not going in a public network. So it's secure. And the QoD APIs from Chimera, they actually play a part on creating the class of service on the wireless portion of the network.
Yeah, and I guess in your point of view, you think your network's so big, the pipes are so big, you don't really need to worry about QoD. But you just said there are the idea of ramping up and down bandwidth. So quality service doesn't necessarily have to be about delays and jitter. It could be just give me more bandwidth I want to pay for.
That is true.
And then let me turn down the bandwidth, and for whatever an agent wants to do, right? So very, very good point. And so intriguing and interesting always talking to you, Divesh. And I want to thank you for this episode. I think our listeners are going to be fascinated by all of this.
Thank you, Pascal. Thank you for having me on this show.
Thanks for joining us for Executives at the Edge. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe today. Share online and review. Find all our episodes on your favorite podcast platform and at MEF.net.